So I want to do a couple things. One, I'm grateful that y'all came, that you adjusted your plans for Sunday school. If you normally leave after 9, that you stayed. I don't take it for granted that y'all are willing to do the things that I ask you to do. That's just been such an amazing part of my time here is, okay, what do we need to do, and let's do it. And I'm grateful for that. I really went back and forth on whether to have a handout, because I figure a handout draws you to just look at that rather than the thing that I'm saying. So I gave you one if you promise not to just look at that while I'm saying the thing I'm saying. You can look at the thing that we're talking about, and there's pencils in every pew that you can write notes. If you want to scribble out questions, I feel a certain desire to press the pace a little bit so that we have time for the choir and we have time for questions from you. I'm talking about any question regarding any of this or something that I did not cover. I've never done this before. I just figured it was a neat time to do it because of tremendous progress that we've made and things that are coming up in the future that are far too long to say in announcements. So welcome to the 2018 State of the Church. Thank you for coming. We're recording it on video, and I'm recording the audio, and we'll place that somewhere. If you want to hear something again, if someone asks you what was said, we can share that with them. So number one, well, I'll tell you what, let's pray together. Number one, let's pray together. Gracious God, we thank you for this space, for this time, for the dedication of all the leaders of this church to make the progress that we've made, for the community, this vibrant community that needs faith communities to serve them, for the opportunity to talk about the future and the exciting things that are coming. For all these things, Lord, we are grateful, and we ask that on this busy day you give us focus, you give us patience, you give us courage as we discuss the things that we discuss. In your Son's name we pray. Amen. All right, so if you have the page you should be looking at is, we've turned a corner on administrative tasks. Never have I ever, in a church in which I was the only pastor, turned the corner on these tasks. Also, never have I ever, as the main pastor or the associate or whatever, been in a place much longer than these tasks. Some of the feedback that I got of wanting to have this meeting is, and not saying exactly what it was people thinking, oh, this is him telling us that he's leaving. It's got nothing to do with that. Of course, as a United Methodist, as a person who believes in what's called the itinerant system of going where I'm sent, I believe in that. But a huge portion of that formula is the pastor saying whether he or she wants to stay or go, and the church saying whether they want the pastor to stay or go. In each instance that I've left because I asked to go. Whether it be life transition, or I was an associate and I wanted to see it on my own, or daughter going into middle school, whatever it may be. And just figure that both I and the staff parish are going to say that they want me to stay as long as we possibly can. So it's got nothing to do with that. So let's talk about some of these administrative tasks we've turned the corner on. And I want to say thank you, and I want to reinforce it. It's a team effort on our calendar. The calendar used to be a Google Calendar, like any calendar that you have, that you could put any number of things on. You could schedule 17 things on the same day at the same time. It didn't care. And we had 6 legit conflicts of people arriving at the same space at the same time. We had 3 near misses in my first 9 months. We've had 0 and 0 since we bought into the calendar system that won't allow us to double book it, and since you've been dedicated to telling us when you would like to do something and where you would like to do something. Let me reinforce that again. If you ever want a space in our congregation, check with Leslie, check with Aaron, check with me, and we will check the calendar. 6 conflicts in our first 9 months to 0 in our last 12 months. I'm grateful for that. Committees and Monday nights. You inside folks on the pew, if you'll take a look at this and then pass it down. This is, I didn't print a bunch of these because they're color, but if you'll just take a look and pass it down. Our meetings when I got here were all over the place. They were on Monday night, they were on Thursday night, they were on Sunday morning. And I know the reason for them being on Sunday morning was consolidating. We're already on campus. But there were instances in which we had a finance meeting in which we said, hey, we're $65,000 behind for the year. We're not sure what we're going to do at 8:41. And then at 9 o'clock, I had worship. Man, that is some serious weight and anxiety to carry into that space. But everyone, same as y'all coming to this meeting, when I said, can we please have our meetings on Monday nights at 6 or 7? In some cases at 12 for retirees. People said yes. And so our meetings now are consolidated on Mondays. That means the first day of the week is just dedicated to that stuff. And then when we're done, we're done. I can move on with the week, move on for Sunday, because of people's willingness to come exclusively on Monday night. That colored sheet that will go past you was in the newsletter last week. It will be on the bulletin boards. And if you have any questions, make sure that you look at who's the leader on that sheet. You see that as well, the chair, but for 2 of them that we have to determine for the year. And that you bring it up to that person before the meeting, and we'll be glad to cover it. Our committees were super thin in 2016. And that's because they had been on that task for the last 6 years. Many people had done the same thing, and some of them a great deal of work, and most of them a moderate amount of work for 6 years. And they were like, can I not do this? Can I do something else? So actually in 16, we didn't shove a bunch of people in there that didn't know what they were doing or how they were doing or whatever. We just had really thin committees in 16. In 17, we got a little bit better. We rested some people in 16 and got them back in 17. We've added new people. And in 18, this year we are stacked. It took us a little while, but we are stacked across all of our committees. We've got great people. Part of the process of that was me handing sheets to you saying, this is what these committees do. Can you please express your interest? You expressed your interest. And then we put you in that spot. It's been great. There's a couple of instances where it is a big, big deal to take on this thing that we have yet to fill for 2018. You want to know what that one is? Traditional worship chair. Anybody want to be the traditional worship chair? Anybody want to make a nomination for someone to be traditional worship chair? It's a trick. That's a trick. If you nominate somebody, you are the one. No. Almost all of our committees are stacked and rested. They're different ages. They're coming from different services. They've been here forever. They're new to our church, whatever it may be. We are as close as we could possibly be. And now we're just going to start resting people. When they come off in 18, you're going to rest in 19. You're going to come back in 20. And you might do a completely different thing. And so everything I'm trying to do is try to thin out the leadership responsibilities of our people, so that you don't, when you think of the church or you get an email, you don't think, oh, again. You want me to be on trustees, and you want me to be on finance, and you want me to chair 9 o'clock worship, and you want me to do what? No, I'm not coming back. I'm trying to thin it out as much as possible to give you rest and also to include as many people as possible. So you'll see that sheet as it goes around, and the great thing about leadership development is we can say to people who are interested in serving exactly what their commitment will be. You say it meets on the second Monday of whatever. And there's some shuffling, but not much. I think that's everything on that. So can committee chairs and members be published? Absolutely. We can put that not only on the bulletin board, but we can put that in the newsletter. Yeah. And I think, we have to wrap that up by November. So like the December newsletter will have the new class. Maybe the January newsletter will have the new class of people. The next thing, budget's been approved. And you're going to be able to see the budget in a different way than we've ever had it before. There's been times when we just didn't promote it very well, and it gave the impression that we were trying to hold it in. Well, we just didn't promote it very well. We didn't have the tools. So you're going to see an updated budget on the main bulletin boards that we have after finance, the Sunday after finance. And you'll see where we stand. And we've put 2018 budget line, a 2018 spent line to this point, and then a percentage of where we are against the year. We've also created where we can have a hyperlink for that will be in the church email. So when you can click on the church email and see exactly where we stand on our budget and exactly what we're doing. So we want to put that in your hands as often as we possibly can as well. We had an amazing consecration season, and our needed amount for unpledged giving is lower than it's been, even though our budget is higher, because people are responding and participating in our consecration season. I'm grateful for that, and you'll see that coming. This is something I'm considering. If you looked at the bulletin, we're trying to cut down the bulletin from this insanity. Okay, this is a lot. It's a lot to hold on to, it's a lot to read, it's a lot to print, and it's a lot of paper. We're considering a bulletin that looks like this. It's one page. It's folded 3 ways. It's less words and more pictures. So I think that would help you a good bit more. And you'll see instances like Easter lilies where we'll have a line across there where you can just rip it and put it in the offering plate. So part of what we're sacrificing by going to a smaller bulletin is less information. And I think we're going to have far more financial information in the newsletter that comes out monthly than in the bulletin that comes out weekly. So you'll see that. Our staff looks set. Okay? Our staff is set, I think, right? We got a good number of people. SPRC's worked a great deal, and Leanna Morris is our latest hire. She's the director of Connection. Leanna's going to be taking some tasks from both Leslie and me. So she is going to be exclusively chasing anyone who visits, any information, standing in the back of the service, keeping up with your contact information, and making sure that we have that accurate in every form and place. This is the biggest challenge we get from our staff, and I'll occasionally hear it from you, but it's mostly when we're dealing with each other. Because of the way that we compensate our staff and their life before us, most of them work outside the church. Overwhelmingly, they have jobs and they come here in the appointed times that they're here. So Leslie's here from 9 to 2. Aaron is here from 9 to 4 a couple days, and from 9 to 2 a couple days. Renessa, Katie, Caitlin, Jimmy are all very part-time. So there's instances in which you will get a slow response on something, but it's because we don't have staff here from 9 to 5 days a week. So if you're just aware of that, and really that's our biggest challenge as a staff. You know how many staff meetings I had at Buncombe Street in 4 years? Whatever 4 times 52 is. 216? What is it? Whatever it is, 208. You know how many staff meetings I've had here? 0. I've not had one staff meeting because we are not on campus at the same time. So the biggest challenge that I'm going to be working on in 2018 is finding ways for, maybe it's directly after worship we go and grill hamburgers at our house and we spend time with each other. Chunks of us spend time with each other, and I see every person. But in many cases, I might be the go-between between 2 staff members because they come and go at different times. So if you're just aware of that and pray for our, it's not a matter of talent or dedication or sacrifice, whatever it may be. We're just not around each other much. And so if there are instances in which we give you a slow response to something, just be aware it's likely because we're trying to work through all the other things that we have. And if you'll pray for us as we attempt to find ways to be around one another. The next one, the war with the directory is over. There's more pain and loss and agony in that one, but it's pretty and it looks nice. The war is over, but the contact information war never ends. Never, ever, ever. In fact, it begins the day that it's printed. So y'all gonna keep moving. Y'all gonna keep canceling your home phone. You're gonna keep getting a cell phone. You're gonna keep getting married and moving, changing houses. Whatever it is, make sure that Leanna's can be the one chasing you so that we have the best contact information possible so that when we need to call you, we will get you. If I hear that one of you had to go to the emergency room and I want to call the other one, our instances of that being accurate have gone from about 30% to about 90% for now, for this very second. for this day. That number will drop. Unless you tell us whenever you have an instance. And you'll see in the email, there are links to, hey, if you moved, if you changed anything, just click on the link, fill it out, and it will be new in that, in the directory. And we'll get it right. You have to forgive me, I'm on medication. Just briefly. McClymonds Trust. You might have heard the McClymonds Trust, you might not quite understand it. Incredibly generous couple, J.S. and Judy McClymonds, decided to give the church $1 million in 1992 for the physical plant of our church. God bless those leaders, many of you are in this room, who said, let's spend a little bit of it, but let's save most of it. Let's save most of it to the tune that we can live off the interest and do something major for our campus every year. They did that way before the recession in 2008, and it was trending up. And the rule is the amount has to be over $2.5 million for you to be able to use the fund. Anything over 2.5, and you can use it once a year, and it has to be for our physical plant. So people have watched it, some, like Susan Mayberry, every day. Every day she has watched it. And it goes up and down, obviously. But we've looked and we've said, okay, to level some of that out, let's look at the last 12 quarters of this fund. And we'll take a percentage of those 12 quarters. We can take up to 6%. So the amount of the average of the last 12 quarters is $2,813,000, just say for instance. We can multiply that by 0.06 and use that amount of money for our campus. It's amazing. Nobody has that. And it's due to the leaders of that time who said that we're going to save it. And my goodness, what a gift that was. Last year we replaced the HVAC of the Family Life Center. It would have crushed us to do that on our own. Not only did we pay for the FLC HVAC, it saved us almost $20,000 in costs for the year. So it didn't impact what we spent on it, but it did impact what we spent to run it. Isn't that something? So we looked at it, and the fund all year long built back up and over 2.5 again. And this year we're doing a complete overhaul of our campus access and security. And so let me make sure I don't jump ahead. Yeah, that's here. You will no longer have keys to get in the church. That's over. It will be over. Because we approved this system at Administrative Council this past Monday. And every adult in the church will have a card or a fob, little, like the CEP. And what we'll do is track exactly who you are and exactly what access you need. So you're a basketball coach coaching 5-year-olds. You don't need to be able to get in the entire church 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You need to be able to get in the Family Life Center on Tuesday night. We have a florist who might come and put things on the altar once everything is restored. The florist doesn't need a key that goes throughout the entire church 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The florist will have a fob that's programmed to get him or her in the building from Wednesdays from 2 to 5. The doors that are our primary doors, here, and the 3 around the social hall, and the 2 on the Family Life Center on the front, then the wooden doors inside the Family Life Center, will all be programmed to open at the times that we need them to open on Sunday morning. So those of you who have been trustees and have gone around and opened all those doors, and those of you who have tugged on doors and they haven't opened, and you've gone to a trustee and gone, that's over. They'll just be open. The other thing that happens with our security is doors get left open. They're locked, but they're just right here, right? And we'll put a sign on the door that says, make sure the door clicks when you come out the door, right? And then you're talking to somebody and you're just walking through the door and you just keep going. We'll get an alert that the door is open and that we need to come and close it. The trustee, instead of walking around campus all the time and unlocking all those doors, will instead be looking at a screen that is video cameras that feed it, and we'll see all of our campus. They see somebody coming in the sanctuary and we've got the sanctuary locked, they let them in, right? So there's no end to what this system is capable of. We are the limitation. You are the limitation. How much are we willing to learn about it? How much are you willing to learn about it? How much are you willing to sacrifice to remember to have it? And it might be that you have it on a necklace in your car. That you're willing to help us do this, because you can't imagine what it will mean to you. I've been locked out of this church, I'd say 8 times. Some in critical moments, okay? I just come in here, I forgot that I didn't have that card. You go from building to building, I'd be locked out. I'm toast. I'm just hoping somebody comes. If I have my phone on me, I can unlock it. If you come up here on a Saturday and I'm not here, no one's here, and you say, hey, could I really was hoping I could, yes, 1 second. Unlock it and lock it back. It's going to be amazing. We passed that this past Monday, and it will be done in March, more than likely. Begin and end in March. So the coming years, what we hope to do with the McClymonn Trust. And of course, it's all hinges on the economy. But the measures that the team has put in is to try to ride those waves out and only use what we have. And if we don't have it, we just don't have it. We live to the next year. HVAC in the social hall, in the education building, and in the sanctuary. That is a significant project if you do it all at once, but it will be meaningful. What will we do with the Rock House? The outside's beautiful, and a hurricane and a tornado and an earthquake and it just sit right there. But the inside is not good. So what can we do to improve the Rock House? And then, of course, the education building. And, you've talked in years past about expanding the social hall, or about a really nice picnic shelter, whatever it may be. If we continue and the market continues and we do what we need to do and do it on big ticket items, soon enough, our campus will be up to speed. And we're either holding back for a major thing or something else. So this particular year, we're spending the money on that campus-wide fob system, and it's also helping to pay a portion of the trustees' budget in our 2018 budget, to cut down on how much they spend. So you'll see that reflected in the budget. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Oh, I was off by a decade. I'm sorry. It was $1.6 million that was given, and it was given in 2002. So they spent some, saved some, and now it's at 2.6 something. It's amazing what it's doing. It's also invested with the United Methodist Church. So we know that it is socially responsible funds, and it's making a great deal of money, so we're grateful for that. So this represents almost 3 years of rebuilding all of these things, and now we just have to live all these things. You flip the page over, we're going to a new thing. The next new things that are coming. The Spiritual Life Council has been formed. Bobby McQuaid is in a blue shirt with a scarf. Bobby's going to be our chair of the Spiritual Life Committee Council, and they meet tomorrow night. You've seen in past versions of church leadership being called the Council on Ministries. It's the spirit of the church. It's worship, it's mission, it's engagement, it's study. All these things that are really our 5 practices, right? Things, the thing we've done for administrative makes us be able to have the lights on and the air running. The Spiritual Life Council is thinking, why? Why do we want that? Why are we here? What are we doing? What are we doing when we're here? What are we doing when we leave? Who are we doing it for, and why? And so that group, rather than, if you're in the administrative council, you have finance committee, you have the staff parish, you have trustees, and each of those heads goes back out to their council to then live their life doing that work. Spiritual Life Council is going to be the whole thing. So issues regarding our mission and how we spend mission money, what we do in worship, they'll all be discussed in the Spiritual Life Council. We may one day expand that back out to committees from each person, but currently it's one committee. So they've got some work ahead of them. They'll be looking at the 5 practices, and that will inform the discussion and how can we encourage you to participate in the life of the church in whatever way, shape, or form. So they start tomorrow night, and I couldn't be more excited. Making the church smaller as we get bigger. That sounds like a consultant, doesn't it? We will only get bigger. I mean, it's a fact. If we keep having great worship services, if we keep following up with people, if you keep going off to college and marrying someone and bringing them back, we will, and then keep having babies, of which tons are coming, we will only get bigger. Look at that number, 478. We had 478 people on Christmas Eve. And I've heard experts say your Christmas Eve worship attendance is a great projection for 3 to 4 or 5 years from now. So how does that feel? Is that like, oh, great? Or is that like, what? I've already had people in my time here say, I don't know everybody anymore. And if I have anything to do with it, you won't. Because we'll keep having new people. Those people will keep getting engaged. And we've got to make this church smaller for you in order to continue to feel a sense of community as we get bigger. If there's a day when we have more than one 11 o'clock service, this style, if there's a day we have more than one of that style, it'll be further divided. And so it can't be simply based in worship, and it can't be based in the bulletin. So let me tell you some things about that might not be popular. Prayer concerns in the bulletin have been a source of angst, pain, confusion, anger in many cases. Why was I not placed there? Why was I placed there? I didn't want anyone to know. Why was I left on there? Why was I taken off there? Whatever it may be, there's no formula where we just do the math and say, yes, this person should be on the prayer list. Brett Claycamp will tell you that he was home for 9 months. Home here in Greer. Not at the hospital in Maryland. He was here and was still on the prayer list. You say, Brett, why are you still on the prayer list? I don't know. Because no one's taking me off. Right? But then who says whether you're on or off? All right? I could give you a name. I could take a vote, and I could say on or off. What do you think the vote would be? It'd be about like me saying, y'all want to go to Applebee's or Chili's? Which one do you want? It'd be all over the place. So in the instances in which someone has been included there who really wanted anonymity, they've been hurt by being placed there. When there's a person who we didn't know if they wanted to be placed there, was not placed there, they've been hurt. Okay? So if Leanna, as our director of connection, works with you to find a small group for you, and Sunday school may work, choir may work, the band may work, your Hardy's morning, Tuesday morning group may work. We're not going to say Sunday night may work. We're not going to say to people, you have these 4 options, and if you can't come to any of these things, then I guess you're on your own. Instead, we're going to say, all right, tell us things that you want. I'd really like a Wednesday at 8 a.m. Okay, who else wants a Wednesday at 8 a.m.? Let's get you together, and I need y'all to share your concerns, your prayers, your questions, your answers with one another. Now, I want to be very clear. That doesn't mean that then I want every bit of pastoral care to be in your group. I actually want more information coming from your group. If you figure that I know that someone's in the hospital, you're wrong. Now, I might not know, but you're wrong for figuring. Everyone needs to tell us everything, and we depend on your groups. And as we put you in groups, I want you to pray and support one another. And when someone is beyond the level of care of your group, you need to say, Leanna, it'd be best if you called. It'd be best if Joe called. It'd be best if whatever. And then we reach out to that person, and then we've got much more accurate information. You're not going to see the prayer list in the bulletin because it causes more harm than good. You may not know that because it doesn't affect you, but I promise you it causes more harm than good. So what I want you to do is in your groups, whatever they need, have prayer in that group. And I want you to tell us if that prayer goes beyond your group to us and you want us to know and you'd like us to respond. Does that make sense? If we keep with our same model and we grow, it will only get worse. That's a fact. I'll give you a great example. In the first Sunday in my new church and a new church start, the lay leader said, "It's time for prayer," and took the microphone and handed it to the congregation. And it went around the horn. Every person had the right to hold the microphone for 3 minutes. You think to yourself, what? That's crazy. That's crazy. And they get sideways and they'd laugh and they'd talk about something else. I said, okay, we got 30 people right now and it takes us about 15 minutes to do that. What if we have 100 people? What are we going to do? So it's that similar model as you get bigger than what you are. And the other thing is, these prayers are often for people who we all know. They're not for newcomers. They're not for visitors. They're not for people who've been here 6 months because they're not aware of that. And I'll give you another one. Birthdays have caused pain. They've caused pain because the information is wrong. They've caused pain because we have two different working systems, and yet to consolidate them, whatever it may be, we don't have newcomers in there. We have people who have been here for 20 years. Theirs is in there. They cause pain more often than not. So I want your groups to celebrate that. I want your groups to know that. And if you want us to know something about that, I want your group to tell me. It's the only way that we can limit the pain that those two incredibly detailed things cause on the major church level. Because what you're hoping for is a small group feel on the church-wide level. Does that make sense? So you'll see those, and if that causes you pain and heartache, I apologize, but I hope that it actually helps us in pastoral care rather than hurts us. Two things you need to do for our staff. This number that's on the front of the bulletin, the pastoral care number. Call it and leave a message when you know something. Call it and leave a message when your friend is having surgery. Call it and leave a message when you feel like someone needs to know something about this thing. If you tell me after church, I will fail. That's all there is to it. My brain is going too fast, and I can't retain it all, and I'll make a mistake. I've made mistakes here, hurt some people here, because I couldn't hold on to it in my head from the conversation. If you call that number and you leave a message, it's in ink, it's in print, it's on my phone. I can look right at it and I can reference it. I need you to do that because it helps with pastoral care. It's a really big deal. GPS classes are coming. We decided to call them that like in your car. You find your way around the church. Those classes will be 3 Sundays in a row on Sunday nights, offered 4 times a year. And our people who are joining or people who are about to join will come to GPS, and it's an acronym too. Is it GROW? Grow, Partner, Serve. So at those GPS classes, you'll hear about choir. You'll hear about the 9 o'clock band. You'll hear about Sunday school, and you'll see where they are. Leanna will be back at the back of the service to share any of that with anyone. And you know what they'll be taught in the GPS class is to be a pack animal. You need a crowd surrounding you to help you so that worship is a celebration. Worship can't be the only thing that we're doing. I think that's it. So I'll tell you this. We're starting a partnership with Amazing Threads across the street, right? They'll have golf shirts like this that don't say Chick-fil-A. I'm just showing you the quality of the shirt. It'll be like this pullover with the Block M and Memorial, and we'll have the United Methodist Cross and Flame on the back. There'll be a blue version and a gray version. We'll have these that they call quarter zip something. that are blue, white, and this. We'll have this version that's more like a long sleeve t-shirt that's this, pink and blue. We're also going to get really nice tumblers for graduates of GPS classes. We're also, and we can give those to you as well. You can, we'll have those. And so we're going to have something like we're calling the Memorial Spirit Store. So you'll see things, gear, all sorts of stuff that you can buy that will have Memorial on the jacket or whatever. So we'll be taking orders for that in the very near future. That's a lot. I know I talked a ton. Any questions? So the question is, if you're a vendor, as Mark is, he eliminates pests all over our campus. How will that be given? You'll be given, you're inside too, not just outside. So given where you are, and it's going to be Aaron, as our church administrator, coding out what access you have, you'd be given crazy level access because you got to get everywhere. You as a normal, so who do you go through to get it? You as an adult already in this church would get one. It's just we would then code it to give you the opportunity. What if you lose your fob? I'm still pitching it to the church to give them to you for next to nothing. But if you lose one, you might have to pay the full, which would be $7. The fobs will either be a little thing that will be on your keychain. Like this, which I personally do not like, or a card in your wallet. That's what I like. I just take my wallet out and put it up to the thing. I'll tell you a big thing it would mean for the choir. Currently the door is unlocked on that far side from the beginning of choir to the end of choir. And there's no one watching it. So all throughout choirs, someone could come in that door and go anywhere they want in these two buildings, including towards the choir room. We will have it open for a 15-minute window, and if you're one of those people that's late, you'll have your fob with you. That will be a huge deal. Could what be digital? What do you mean? Oh, like you that'd be something, but no. I'm wondering if you could just have your phone and put that up to it like a scan, like Apple Pay or something. That'd be neat, but it's not today. Any other questions? I'm sure nobody wants to ask a question in front of everybody, but if you take these notes home, if you listen to the video again, if you listen to the audio and you say, wait, what did he say there? Just come up and ask me. I'm glad to do that. And if we do this once a year to give you what's going on and what's happening, I'd be grateful if you'd come. Last chance. All right. Go in peace.